we understand
Ashley, can you hear me? Unmute yourself.
Sam.
How are you?
Fine.
How have you been? How's everybody?
Fine. Yeah, fine.
All right, so let's pray for us so that we can start.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Father, I want to thank for today. Thank for being helping us. That's why I start this class, that everything that will be taught to understand in Jesus' name.
Amen.
That's what we
Amen. All right, there. You know, the last time I gave you an assignment and you say you didn't get the assignment. So I remember sending it to the email. Were you able to get it?
No, I didn't see it.
Well, I sent it to your, I think your brother's email, and I was expecting we'll start from there today. So the reason why I'm so particular about that question is a lot of people find it difficult. I'm talking about from experience now, most of my previous students. So I want us to still review that particular question. But for the sake of time, I will send it again to your email. Then maybe in our next class, we'll revisit it again. Do you understand?
Okay, sir.
All right. So today, by God's grace, we're moving into a different topic. Now, I sent this one to you last week. Were you able to get a depreciation?
No.
You didn't get depreciation?
No.
Okay, no problem. Let's just start then. I'll start from there this week. I thought maybe you should have gotten it last week, but no problem. So the topic for today is depreciation. And I want to believe you're familiar with it. So I won't waste much time. I'll just run it like a brief revision so that we can move ahead and we can do the main thing. So while we wait for Olamide, we'll continue. Whenever she comes around, she'll join us from wherever we stop. Or we are. So definitions of terms. Depreciation. Depreciation can be defined as the reduction in the economic potentials of an asset as a result of wear, tear, usage, and passage of time. It is also the permanent and continuous decrease in the quantity and quality and value of assets. So it is the continuous reduction in the economic potential of an asset. But assets we are talking about here is strictly fixed assets. So a reduction in the economic potential of an asset due to wear and tear, due to passage of time, due to usage, that's what we refer to as what? Depreciation. Now it says, note, fixed assets are assets that has permanent nature and which last longer in the business and are used to generate revenue for the business. These are the assets that suffers depreciation. Now, when we talk about fixed assets, from the definition, they are assets that are bought to be used in the business, not for reselling, and they have permanent nature, and they stayed longer in the business. Example of fixed asset, we have land and building, we have machineries, we have motor vehicles, we have furnitures and fixed things. These are all examples of what? Fixed asset. Now, when we are talking about depreciation, the assets that get depreciated is fixed assets. And what is the depreciation? The reduction in the value of this asset over the usage, the passage of time, or because of passage of time, because of usage, because of wear and tear. Now, if you buy an asset this year, let's assume you buy a motor vehicle costing 60,000 this year, and you decide to sell the asset next year, you will agree with me that the asset will no longer be sold for 60,000. Why? Because you must have used the asset, that is usage. Because the years of purchase is quite different. You bought it last year, that is passage of time. Then we also say due to wear and tear, that's maybe probably erosion. So you see the value, the economic potential of that asset must have been reduced. That is what we refer to as what? Depreciation. Do you understand? Do you understand? Olamide, can you hear me?
So I can hear you. So I can hear you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Came a bit late, but no problem. So we're talking about depreciation. So like I said before, I said depreciation can be defined as the reduction in the economic potential of an asset as a result of wear and tear, as a result of usage, and as a result of passage of time. It is the permanent and continuous decrease in the quantity, quality, and the value of an asset.
What are you going to do?
Now we also say note, it is fixed asset, or it is fixed assets that are always being depreciated. And we say here that fixed assets are assets that has permanent nature and which last longer in the business and are used to generate revenue for the business. Olamide,
Sir?
the audio from your place is distracting me. Please talk to them, let them stop that. Ashilari, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go to the next slide. Now, the next slide is reasons for charging depreciation. What are the reasons for charging depreciation? Number one, since depreciation is a charge against profit, the tax to be paid on profit will be reduced. What do I mean by this? Now, if you are preparing your trading profit and loss account, you agree with me that before you arrive at your net profit, all the expenses need to be subtracted from your gross profit. And part of the expenses we are talking about here could be taxation. Now, if your net profit, if your gross profit is 5,000 and all your expenses is 3,000, then after that, you now have another expenses, which is taxation. And let's assume taxation is 1,000. Remember, I say your gross profit is 5,000. Then all your expenses put together is 3,000, excluding tax. Now, by the time you now have tax to be 1,000, tax is also an expenses. It will be included. So you will now say 3,000 plus the 1,000. That makes all the expenses 4,000. Now, the net profit will now be 5,000 minus 4,000. So our net profit will now be 1,000 instead of 3,000. Why? Instead of 2,000. Why? Because you have deducted tax before you arrive at your profit. So they say since depreciation is a charge against profit, the tax to be paid on profit will be what? Reduced. So the tax that you're supposed to pay on profit will always be reduced because you have included depreciation as a charge against profit. So instead of the government to charge you huge tax, by the time the government see your profit, the tax they will charge you will definitely be what? Reduced, because depreciation is part of the charges that will reduce your profit. I hope you understand that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Number two, the amount charged as depreciation can be used as replacement of the asset at the end of the useful lifespan. By the time the asset is being sold, or maybe let's say you are able to acquire an asset for a particular period, and you use the asset for 5 years. At the end of the usage of that asset, the amount that the asset is worth at that moment, that's after 5 years, you can use that asset, that amount, to replace the asset or to sell the assets. That's what they are talking about. By the time we start solving, you understand better what this particular one is talking about. Number three, as it follows the matching concept. That's one reason for charging depreciation. They say it follows the matching concept. The cost of the asset are spread over its useful lifespan. Remember, matching concept simply states that you match all the expenses that is for a particular asset before you can before the asset can give you that particular profit for that year. So before you can derive profit for that particular asset, all the expenses accrued to that asset must be subtracted. So that is matching concept. So depreciation, one reason for charging depreciation is because of matching concept, because you have to minus depreciation from the cost of that asset. Then the next slide is causes of depreciation. Don't forget, the reasons for depreciation is quite different from the word causes of depreciation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now, Number one causes of depreciation, we say wear and tear. Wear and tear. An asset may be depreciated as a result of constant usage. Physical factors like erosion, dampness, rust, and decay can cause an asset to reduce in value. This is self-explanatory. When you continue to use a particular asset, over time the asset will depreciate. Number two, obsolescence. Obsolete. Number two causes of depreciation is obsolescence. An asset can be obsolete due to change in technology. When this occurs, it is due for replacement. Now, what do we mean by obsolescence in accounting? For instance, if there is a change in technology, it brings about what we call replacement of that particular asset, even when the asset is still in use, even when the asset is still good. Now, you agree with me, if you go to different homes today, you will no longer see fluorescent bulb. Now, the reason is simple. It's not like fluorescent bulb is bad, but because there is a new technology, which is energy saver. So a lot of people prefer to use energy saver. So they abandon fluorescent bulb. And with this, you will see that everybody that has fluorescent bulb in his or her houses will abandon fluorescent bulb and they switch to what? Energy saver. Why? That is obsolete. And this is another cause of what? Depreciation. Do you understand that point?
Yes, sir.
Good. The next one is passage of time. Number three, passage of time. Depreciation occurs in some assets with the effusion of time, e.g., leasehold premises, patents, and copyright. You will agree with me that if you buy a vehicle 10 years ago, that vehicle cannot be the same in present year now. So due to the passage of time, that vehicle must have been deteriorated or must have suffered a lot of, some economic potential must have gone out of it. So that is another cause of what? Depreciation. Then the next one, number three cause of depreciation, depletion. Depletion. Some natural resources like gold, oil, or tin deposits become worthless when the deposits have been depleted. Becomes worthless when the deposits have been depleted. They are called wasting assets. The more they are used or extracted, the less the reserve. Now, if you are mining gold in a particular area, the more you mine gold from that particular area, the less gold you will see. And that area, over time, before you know it, the area will not be productive again. There will be less gold for you to even mine. That is depletion. So that's another cause of depreciation. Number five, inadequacy. As a result of expansion in production capacity of a company, an asset may become too small or inadequate and thus require replacement for a bigger one. This can cause depreciation. For instance, if you have a company and you are using one room to produce, and you are producing 100 bags of whatsoever you are producing in a day, but because there is an expansion and also an expansion in your production capacity, from 100, you now start producing 1,000 capacity. You will agree with me that that one room will no longer serve the production of 1,000 capacity. There will be need for you to increase that building. Then the machine you are using before, probably maybe a particular machine that you're using to produce 100, the same machine will not be used to produce 1,000. There might be need for another machine. That is inadequacy. So if there is an expansion in your production capacity and there is need for you to abandon a particular thing and go for another one, that is inadequacy. So it can also cause depreciation. So these are the 5 causes of depreciation. Remember, the first one, I say we have wear and tear. The second one, obsolescence. The third one, I say we have passage of time. The fourth one, deflection. And the fifth one, inadequacy. I hope you're able to put down the 5 points.
Yes,
have you been
sir.
able to put down the 5 points?
Yes, sir.
Good. The next slide is elements of depreciation.
Yeah.
Elements or components of depreciation. We have 3 key components in depreciation. The first one is original price. This is the cost incurred in purchasing installations and cost. Purchasing, installation, and cost of carriage. Now, the actual cost of a particular item, that is the original cost. It's as simple as that. The second element of depreciation is estimated value. This is the scrap value. Another name for estimated value is scrap value, or you can call it residual value. In some textbooks, you will see it as residual value. It means the same thing. So it's either residual value, scrap value, or estimated value. What does this mean? This is the scrap value, the amount which can be recovered when the asset is to be sold at the end of the useful lifespan. If you buy an asset 2020 and you are selling the asset 2025, now let's say you bought it 10,000 and you are to sell it now and you are selling it 1,000. That 1,000 you are selling the asset after 5 years. That is what we call the estimated value. It is the same thing as the scrap value or the residual value. I hope you are with me.
Yes, sir.
The next one is estimated useful lifespan or expected useful lifespan. This is the expected numbers of years through which an asset can last. The expected useful lifespan or numbers of years through which an asset can last. Now, you agree with me that when you buy a particular asset, it's not forever and ever. There is a particular duration or time that that asset can last. That is what we call the expected or the numbers of years. Now, the next thing we want to look at is methods of calculating depreciation. Methods of calculating depreciation. Now, there are various methods of depreciating fixed assets. This include number 1, straight line method. Number 2, diminishing or reducing balance method. Number 3, annuity methods. Number 4, sinking fund method. Number 5, retirement and replacement method. Number 6, sum of the year digits method. Then number 7, depletion unit method. Number 8, insurance policy method. Number 9, revaluation method. Let me take it again. Number 1, it's a straight line method. Number 2, diminishing or reducing balance method. Number 3, annuity method. Number 4, sinking fund method. Number 5, retirement or replacement method. Number 6, sum of the year digits method. And number 7, depletion unit method. And number 8, insurance policy system. And number 9 is revaluation method. Are you able to put these 9 points down?
Yes, sir.
Alamde, how about you?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, out of these 9 methods, we have 3 that are very, very popular. That in exam condition, you are likely to be asked. The first one is reducing balance method. The second one is straight line method. And the third one is sum of the year digits method. So we are going to be reviewing these 3 methods as we continue with this lecture. So let's start with the first one, straight line methods. Now, what is straight line method? This provision makes for equal amount to be charged as depreciation for each year of useful lifespan of the assets. Now, underlined equal amount to be charged, equal amount to be charged. That's the most important thing in that definition. So it says this provision makes for equal amount to be charged as depreciation for each year of the useful lifespan of the asset. The depreciation is ascertained by dividing the cost of the asset less the residual value by the number of estimated useful lifespan. This method is simply connoted with this formula below. You have cost minus estimated value divided by the numbers or useful lifespan. So this is the formula for straight line method. But don't forget, in case you are asked in an examination condition, what is straight line method? Just tell them, this is a method that makes provision for an equal amount to be charged as depreciation for each year of the useful lifespan of an asset. If you buy an asset for 10,000 and peradventure you have calculated the depreciation for the first year and the depreciation is 2,000 naira, all through the useful lifespan of that asset, 2,000 naira will serve as depreciation until the asset expires or until you no longer use that asset again. That's a straight line method. But if it is reducing balance method, a particular percentage or a fixed percentage will be charged from the reducing balance of that asset. Reducing balance of that asset. But this one now they said equal amount or a fixed amount will be charged from the cost of that asset each year. You will see it by the time we start solving it, you understand it better. So we have this illustration given. That's illustration 1. Ashley, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Olamide, how about you?
Yes, sir.
Good. So illustration 1, can you see illustration 1 on your screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, it says the cost of machine is 10,000 naira. The residual value is 4,000 naira. It is expected to last for 4 years. Now, the key thing in that question is costs. What are the 3 elements of depreciation that I said earlier before now? Olamide, give me one.
Sir, cost, original cost.
Good, original cost. What's the second one?
Estimated value.
Estimated value. Ashley, what's the third one?
Estimated useful life.
Estimated useful life. Now, from this question, what is the original cost now?
10,000.
10,000. Olamide, what is the estimated value?
4,000.
What is another name for estimated value?
Scrap value.
Good. Ashley, what is the estimated useful lifespan?
Book value.
What is the estimated useful lifespan? Ashley.
4 years.
4 years. Now, using straight line method, what is the formula for straight line method again?
Cost minus estimated value
Cost
all over number.
minus estimated value divided by what? Number of years. That's the formula, right? I hope you can see the board. Can you see the board?
Yes, sir.
So now, you will now tell them that the depreciation is cost minus estimated value divided by numbers of years. And our cost is 10,000 naira. The estimated value is 4,000. And the numbers of years is 4. So what is our depreciation now? What is our depreciation? Yes, I'm waiting. What's our depreciation?
1,500.
You say?
1,500.
1,500. Now, from the definition of straight line method, what does straight line method definition says? Ashley.
The straight line method is the method of depreciation in which equal amounts is charged over the useful years of an asset.
So what is now the equal amount that will be charged for this particular asset?
1,500.
Perfect. Now, let me show you something. Whenever you are asked depreciation, now 2 things. The first thing is you first of all calculate your depreciation. Then the second thing is you provide or you prepare your depreciation schedule. So the first one we have done now is what we call depreciation calculation. Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is the depreciation schedule. And this is our depreciation schedule. Now, under the depreciation schedule, as you can see from the slide, we have depreciation schedule. Now, they say the asset is expected to last for 4 years. So we have year 1 to 4. Then we have the cost, we have the depreciation, and we have the accumulated depreciation. Then we have the net book value. NBV is the net book value. Now, for year 1, the cost of the asset is 10,000. The depreciation that we have calculated is 1,500. Now, the accumulated depreciation is the depreciation that is accrued over time. That is accumulated depreciation. Now, for the first year, there is no accumulated depreciation. So the depreciation remains 1,500. Then the net book value is the cost minus the accumulated depreciation. So the cost is 10,000. The accumulated depreciation is 1,500. When you minus that from each other, it will give you what? 8,500. That's why the net book value after year 1 is 8,500. For year 2, the cost remains fixed, still 10,000. Then the depreciation, they say equal amount will be charged as depreciation all through the useful lifespan of the asset. So the depreciation for year 2 still remains 1,500. Now the difference you can see here is that accumulated depreciation now, depreciation as accrued for the first year, we have 1,500. For the second year now, we have 1,500. When you sum that together, it will give you 3,000 naira. So the accumulated depreciation for year 2 is what?
3,000.
You say?
3,000.
3,000.
3,000.
So now, to get your net book value, it will now be 10,000 minus what?
3,000.
Good, that will give us what? 7,000. Then for year 3, 10,000 still as our cost. Then depreciation remains 1,500. Then the accumulated depreciation now, depreciation after third year. So that's 1,500 multiplied by what?
4,500.
3. That will give you 4,500. So the net book value for that asset will now be what? 5,500. Then for year 4, it will be, the cost remains 10,000. The depreciation is still 1,500. Then the accumulated depreciation after 4 years will be 6,000. So the net book value will now be what?
4,000.
Good. So this is how the depreciation schedule is expected to look like. Do you understand that? Now,
Yes,
this
sir.
is just for straight line method. Remember, we have 9 methods of calculating depreciation. And I told you, I said 3 are very cumbersome in examination scenario. So we have looked at the first method, which is the straight line method. Now, for this first method, I have to give you an assignment so that I can be very confident, or I can be very certain that you understand what we have done. So the first assignment, you can see from the slide, it says a machine costs 12,800. It will be used for 5 years and then sold for a scrap value of 400 naira. Calculate the depreciation for each year using straight line methods and prepare the depreciation schedule. Straightforward, very simple. The same thing as the first example. Number 2, a plant costing 1,000 naira. A plant costing 1,000 naira has a residual value of 125 naira with an estimated lifespan of 4 years. Show the calculation of the figure for depreciation for each year using a straight line method. That's also the same, straightforward. Then number 3, an equipment costing 60,000 was bought. Now, Olamide, I need you to concentrate. Now, look at this question now. Olamide,
Sir?
are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Number 3 question is a bit different from number 1 and 2. Now, listen, let me explain so that you understand what you're supposed to do. An equipment costing 60,000 was bought on 1st January 1991. Depreciation was provided 20% annually on a straight line basis. It was sold on 30th June 1994 for 15,750. Now you are expected to calculate the depreciation. Now, this is what you are expected to do. The cost of the asset is 60,000. They bought it 1st of January. And they used the asset from 1st of January till 30th June 1994. That was how many years?
3 years.
No. Look at it again. 1st January 1991 to 30th June 1994.
Sir, 4 years.
It's now up to 4 years. Read through
Okay,
the
that means
lines.
I think it's 4 years.
1st of January 1991 to 1st of January 1993 or 1994 is 3 years. Then January 1994, 1 month. February 1994, 2 months. March 1994, 3 months. April 1994, 4 months. May, then June. So that's 3 years. How many months?
6 months.
Perfect. So that's the period of time that the asset stays in the business. Now, I don't know why Ashley is not on again. Okay, let's just continue. Now, let me show you something, Olamide. In the first slide, these are the likely questions. Using this slide now, can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
An examiner might ask you, at the end of year 3, how much is the cost of the asset? What that means is, what is the net value of the asset? Now, from your depreciation schedule, now, what is the net book of the asset at the end of year 3?
5,500.
Now, how are you able to decide, or are you able to conclude on this? It's because you have already prepared your what? Your depreciation schedule.
Sure.
Now, if they ask you again that at the end of year 3, at the end of year 2, what is the accumulated depreciation?
3,000.
Perfect. Then if they now ask you that at the end of year 4, the owner of the asset decides to sell the asset for 3,000 naira, have they made a profit or a loss for the asset?
They made a profit.
What did I say? What's the question again? I said the owner of the asset decides to sell the asset for how much?
Oh, 3,000. They made a loss.
They made a loss. A loss of how much?
1,000.
Now, why? Because the net book for the asset, the net book value for the asset is 4,000. That is the expected amount you're supposed to sell the asset. That's the scrap value. But you sell it below the scrap value. So they've made a loss. Now, back to the assignment now. On this number 3 question, I want you to tell me if they've made a profit or if they've made a loss. And I want you to prepare the depreciation schedule and also to calculate the depreciation. I hope you understand that.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So let's go to the next slide now. So we are done with the first one now. So I'm taking you to the next one now, which is can you see the slide now? Olamide.
Yes, I'm seeing this one.
Can you see it now?
Reducing balancing method. Yes, sir.
Yes. So now that's the second method of calculating depreciation. What is the first method again?
Straight line method.
Good. And don't forget, you have 3 assignments for that. So now we're back to reducing balance method. Now, reducing balance method, by definition, by this method, a fixed percentage is written off the depreciation, or a fixed percentage is written off the diminishing balance of the asset yearly. The diminishing balance of the asset yearly. Now, you'll be given a fixed percentage, let's say 20%, let's say 10%, let's say 25%. But that percentage remains fixed all through the lifespan of the asset. But Ashilere is just joining back. Ashilere, put up your video. Ashilere, can you hear me now? All right, let's continue. Olamide, you are with me, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, a fixed percentage will be given to you, and that fixed percentage will be written off the balance of the assets. Now, take note now, the balance of the asset, the diminishing balance of the asset. So if the balance of the asset for the first year is 5,000, the balance of the asset will reduce after first year. Second year might be 4,000. Third year might be 3,000. So it is that fixed percentage that you'll be removing from the diminishing balance of the asset each year. Do you understand that? Olamide,
Sir?
do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Ashilere, you're welcome back. What happened? Network, I guess. Ashilere, can you hear me? If you can hear me, say something. I guess you have problem with your network. All right. Now, Olamide.
Sir?
All right, good. So now it says, by this method, a fixed percentage is written off the diminishing balance of the asset yearly. Now, the total depreciation is spread over the anticipated useful lifespan of the asset by annual installments of diminishing amount. Now, if you can see the board now, look at the board. Let me show you something.
We are not going to make that very clear.
Now, if the cost of the asset for year one is 50,000, and you are being given 20% fixed depreciation rate. Now, they said, can you see the board?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, they said, from the definition, a fixed percentage is written off the diminishing balance of the asset yearly. 20% of 50,000 will give us 10,000. Now, what is now the diminishing balance of the cost of the asset? It will be 50,000 minus what? 10,000. Or the diminishing balance of the asset for year two will now be what? 40,000. What is the balance of the assets in year one?
50.
Good. Now, for year two, the depreciation will now be still 20% of the diminishing balance now, not of 50,000 again, but of what now?
40,000.
That is diminishing balance method or reducing balance method. Now, what is 20% of 40,000? 20% of 40,000 is 8,000. So if we say 40,000 minus 8,000, that will give us what? 32,000. So for year three, Ashilere, what would the depreciation be? Ashilere, are you with us? All right. Olamide.
Sir?
For year three, what would be the depreciation after year three?
It will be 6,400.
No, tell me what you will do first. Don't tell me the final answer.
Oh, 20% of 32,000.
Perfect. So that is diminishing balance. Now let's move to the explanation now. Now it says here, larger amount of depreciation is deemed to occur in an early year and smaller amount in the later year. Now, under diminishing balance method, you might be given depreciation rates to use and calculate the depreciation. But if not given, the depreciation rate is computed using this formula. Now, remember I said sometimes you might be given fixed rate of depreciation, like 20%, 10%, 5%, whatsoever percentage you might be given. Then, in case you are not given, there is a constant formula that you use to generate or to determine your depreciation rate. Now, the formula is depreciation rate equal to, are you with me? 1
Yes, sir.
minus root n, then this is C all over scrap value, close bracket, multiplied by 100 over 1. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
Remember in the slide, you are not saying divide by or multiply by 100 over 1, but it's supposed to be there because your depreciation rate will be calculated, and at the end of the day, you'll be having a fixed percentage rate. So in your formula now, you include after, let me write it again so that you can see it from the board. Now I said the depreciation rate is 1 minus root n s divided by c. Then you close the bracket. You are not closing the bracket on 1. 1 is independent. You are closing the bracket on this root. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Then multiply by 100 over 1. Thank think Ashleigh is having a network issue. She has been off and on. So, what's the formula again? Let me be sure you get it right.
1 minus n square root of residual value over cost into brackets times 100 over 1.
Thank you. Now note, from the formula, 1 is 1, normal. Then this n that you are seeing is number of years. That's the expected number of years. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then the s you are seeing is the scrap value. What's another name for scrap value?
Residual value.
Then the c you are seeing is the what?
Cost.
That's the original cost. Then multiply by 100 over 1. Now let's go. Let's continue. Now illustration 1 for this reducing balance method says a motor car cost 6,400 in 1991. It will be kept for 5 years and then sold as a residual value of 200 naira. Now, I told you when you are solving depreciation, the first thing you do is, while reading the question, you write the 3 elements. What is the first element again?
Cost.
What's our cost?
6,400.
What's the scrap value?
200.
200. Then what's our number of years?
5 years.
5 years. Now, here, are you giving any fixed rate for the fixed percentage rate?
No, sir.
So what that means is that you're supposed to calculate the fixed percentage rate. Now they said, they say calculate the depreciation rate and prepare the depreciation schedule for the 5 years of the assets. Solution. Now, what is the formula for depreciation rate again, Olamide?
Sir, 1 minus n square root of residual value over cost, close bracket, times 100 over 1.
Perfect. All right, so let's impute this into it now. So rate will now be 1 minus, what is our n?
5.
Beautiful. What's our x?
Our what?
S.
Okay, 200.
200. What is our c?
6,400.
6,400 multiplied by 100 over 1. Now listen, take note. This is where students get it wrong in exam. Whenever you are solving depreciation rate to be precise. Olamide, are you with me? Look at the board.
Yes, sir.
Now, whenever you are solving depreciation rate to be precise, this root 5 must be eliminated before any other thing. Now, if you fail to eliminate this root 5, every other thing you are doing is beautiful nonsense. So the first thing you must do is eliminate this root 5 first. And how do you do that? Now, what it means is that you must look for a number that you will multiply 5 times that will give you 200. Then you must look for a number that you will multiply 5 times that will give you 6,400. That's what it means. That's the way to eliminate this root 5. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
Now I will solve it mathematically. Then I will solve it, shall I say, accountically too. Let me not say that. All right, I will solve it mathematically. Then I will show you how you solve it using in accounting form or way too. Now, you have 1 minus bracket root 5. Then you have 200 all over, or divide by 6,400. Now, if you cancel 2 0 here and you cancel 2 0 here, you'll be left with 2 divided by 64. Then all multiplied by 100 over 1. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Then you have 1 minus bracket root 5. Now, if you say 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by, it will not give you 2. So you have to eliminate these 2. So if you say 2 here, 1. 2 here, 2 into 60, it will give you
32.
32. Good. So you have 1 divided by 32. Now, from this place now, you can eliminate it easily now. How? If you say 1 multiplied by 1, multiplied by 1, multiplied by 1, multiplied by 1, into 5 places, it will still give you 1. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then if you say 2 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, it will give you what now? 2 multiplied by 2 is what?
4.
Multiplied by 2.
8.
Multiplied by 2.
16.
16 multiplied by 2.
32.
32. So beautiful. So we have gotten our what? 32 now. So the last thing you will do, you will now pick just one of the numbers. That's all you need. Then this 5, you forget about the 5. This is what I mean. Look at it now. 1 minus. So I say you now, this is root 5. You now say 1 divided by 2. Multiply by 100 over 1. Now we have picked just 1 from all these 5 numbers, then 1 from this 5 number. So you don't need this root 5 again. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
So that's how it will appear now. You don't need that root 5 again. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Larry is back online. Do you get that now?
Yes, sir.
So now, to continue, remember this one is in brackets. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So, this 100 is not inclusive now. So to eliminate this now, the next thing is, you have 1 minus bracket 1 over 2. What that means is 1 minus 1 over what? 2. So 1 minus 1 over 2 will give you what? Remember 1 over 2 is the same thing as 0. What? 1 over 2 is the same thing as what?
0.5.
So it will now be 0.5 multiplied by 100 over 1. So what would that give you?
50%.
0.5 multiplied by 100 over 1. That will give you what? 50%. So our depreciation rate is 50%. Now, after getting your depreciation rate, you can now proceed to calculate your depreciation. Do you get that now?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is working it mathematically. So let's work it in accounting way now. Ashilere.
Sir?
I don't know why your network is going off and on. What happened? Is it network?
Yes.
Or is it Anita that is disturbing you?
No, it's network. It's not her.
So we've done a lot. I don't know how, and I don't have time. But let's just see if I can be able to do something again for you. But before that, let me do the other way around. Now, just follow from where you can see now. Now, if we are to solve it in accounting way, you have depreciation rate is equal to 1 minus root 5 S divided by C, all bracket 100 over 1. And we say 1 minus, we have here 5. Our S is what? Ashilere, what's our S? 200. Our C is 6,400. All in bracket, multiply by 100 over 1. Now, Ashilere, are you with me? Are you with me? Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now,
Yeah.
allow me there.
Sir?
Now, this is a straightforward one. When you want to solve it in account, it's easier and it's better. Because sometimes, for you to eliminate this root 5, it will take you time. So in examination condition, you might not know exactly what to think. So in accounting, calculator is allowed. In every accounting exam you're supposed to write. So just punch your calculator, and scientific calculator will do that for you. You have calculator. All right, now, I don't have calculator with me, but if you have your calculator, Olamide, do you have calculator with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Now, 1 minus, now to eliminate this, what this means is that you look for a number that you multiply 5 times that will give you what is inside this place. Then you look for another number that you multiply 5 times that will give you what is beneath it. Now, we have done that mathematically earlier before now, but want to use it, want to do that using calculator now. Now bring out your calculator, Olamide.
Sir?
Show me your calculator now from the screen.
Oh, sir, I'm thinking about calculator on the phone.
No, I want the one.
The calculator is not here.
Okay. I need scientific calculator. Now, let's assume you have something like this now. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Can you see this sign?
Yes, sir.
What sign is this?
Sir, root.
Ashilere, can you see it? Ashilere, unmute yourself. Ashilere is not with us today. All right, Olamide. Now,
Sir?
you press second function in your scientific calculator. Then you press 5. Then you now press root, this particular sign. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Then you now press 200 divided by 6,400. You now press equal to. So it will give you a particular thing. Then you continue your solving. So anytime you have your calculator with you, I need you to do that. What did I say you press again?
Sir, we press the 5, then roots, then 200
No, you
divided
press
by
second function first. Then you press
second function.
5, then root, then 200 divided by 6,400. So it will give you a decimal figure. Let's say 0.5. Do you understand now? So if it's giving you 0.5, that's all. It means you have eliminated all these brackets now. So the next thing you have is just this 1 minus 0.5. So you now continue. You now say 1 minus 0.5. That will still give you what? 0.5. Then you now say multiply by 100. It will give you 50%. So this is your depreciation rate. So it will still give you 50%. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. So the next slide now. Now, after you have prepared you have gotten your depreciation rate. The next thing is you now prepare your depreciation schedule. So the depreciation schedule will appear thus below. You have your year, you have depreciation calculation, and you have your net book value. Now listen, this is not your depreciation schedule. This one is your depreciation calculation for each year. So for year 1, you will use 50% of 6,400, which will give you 3,200. Then the net book value will now be 6,400 minus 3,200, which will give you what? 3,200. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
For year 2, it will still be 50%, but not of 6,400 again, of the diminishing balance. What is now the diminishing balance after year 2, after year 1?
Sir, you said.
Or what is your net book value after year 1? Look at the slide. Look at the slide and get it easily from there.
Okay.
After year 1, what is your net book value?
Oh, 3,200.
3,200. So this 3,200 is what you use that 50% for. So it will now be 50% of 3,200 for year 2. So the depreciation will now be what? 1,600. Then still for that year 2, the net book value, remember the cost of the asset is no longer 6,400. The cost of the asset is 3,200. So it will now be 3,200 minus what? 1,600. That will give you 1,600. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Then number 3 is still 50%, but not of 3,200 again, of 1,600 now. So that will give you 800. That's the net book value. For year 5, year 4, 50% of 800, that will give you 400. For year 5, 50% of 400, that will give you 200. So remember, the scrap value from the question is 200. Now, this is how your depreciation schedule will look like. Look at the slide, Olamide.
Yes, sir.
So the depreciation schedule will appear like this. Year 1, cost, depreciation, accumulated depreciation, and your net book value. Now, for year 1, the cost of the asset remains 6,400. The depreciation is 3,200. The accumulated depreciation is 3,200. Then the net book value is 3,200. For year 2 now, the cost is no longer 6,400. The cost is now 3,200. The depreciation now is 1,600. It's no longer 3,200. Then your accumulated depreciation will be year 1 depreciation plus year 2 depreciation. That is 4,800. That will give you 1,600. Then year 3 is 1,600 as cost. The depreciation is 800. Accumulated depreciation is the addition of the 3 depreciation, which is 5,600. Then the net book value is 800. Then for year 4, you have 400 as the cost. Depreciation 400. Accumulated depreciation 6,000. Net book value 400. Then year 5, 400 as the cost. Accumulated depreciation 62. Then the net book value 200. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Running out of time, that's why I have to be very, very fast. So if you understand this, this is how the depreciation schedule will look like. Using reducing balance method. You see, it's quite different from the straight line method. So you need to familiarize yourself with the concept. Know the one that is reducing balance method and know the one that is straight line method. I have 3 assignments for you in straight line method. So I'm giving you another assignment in reducing balance method now. So this one is sum of the year. We'll continue from there next class. But this is your assignment. Now your assignment here is just number 4.
I think you want for straight line method.
You say?
Sir, this assignment now that you put is okay.
This is your assignment number 4. Ignore number 1, 2, and 3. So just focus on number 4. But the number 4, you are only using reducing balance method because I'm here to teach you some of the year digit method. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
So you are using reducing balance methods. Now it says compute the annual depreciation for each year. Vehicle cost, estimated life, then estimated value. So the vehicle has 3 years. Year 1, year 2, year 3. Now the cost for year 1 is 8,000. The estimated lifespan for year 1 is 5 years. Then the estimated scrap value or the estimated value is 200. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And number 2 is the cost for the vehicle is 16,000. The estimated lifespan is 4 years. Then the residual value is 5,000. Then the last one is 7,500 as cost, 3 years as estimated lifespan. Then the residual value is 0. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So you are expected to calculate the depreciation rate first. Then after that, you now show us the calculation of the depreciation. Then after that, you will now prepare the depreciation schedule. So you have 4 assignments. And you know what to do. When you are done, you send it to my email. Olamide, I think I'm giving you like 4 assignments now, and I've seen just 1. What happened?
Sir, no, I sent all the rest. The only one I did not send is the last one, and I replied on the email, and I told you that the one actually sent to me wasn't clear, and I was asking her, she didn't get back to me.
All right, so we'll continue from that one next class. But this one, I expect you to solve this one. If you did not solve this one in my next class, you will not hear everything that I'm teaching. I will just mute you. Do you understand that? All right, so with this, we have come to the end of the class. Olamide, please see what you will do. Make sure all this thing you explain to Ashilere. Then tell her anyone she did not understand, she can call me so that I can still put her through. Then she have to do this assignment too. So please screenshot it, then make sure you send it to her too. So Olamide, pray for us.
Okay, sir. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
My Father, thank you for what we learned today. Father, may we stick on our Lord in Jesus' name. And Father, thank you for our child that taught us. May you give us all of us getting married in Jesus' name. In
Amen.
Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. All right. Do have a lovely day, Olamide.
You too, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.